Welcome to this Sunday's Gospel Reflection. Well, the poor little parrot was overwhelmed. His fellow parrots decided to make his life miserable. They fell upon him all together, pecking, pincing, pulling out his feathers all at one go. The only thing the poor parrot could do was repeat again and again, "One at a time, one at a time." We human beings are like those aggressive parrots. We love groups, belong to groups, see each other as groups, and act as groups. We love or hate, see and judge people in groups or categories. Our conflicts, massacres, wars are all carried out in the name of groups, causing so much discriminations, cruelties, violence, death in the name of groups. There are all kinds of human groups. We define ourselves by belonging to any or some of these. And too often we hate or fear the other groups to which we don't belong. Nationalism, patriotism, sectarianism, party politics, tribalism, religious fundamentalism are all the result of this. It's the others, or us. We divide humanity into groups, good groups and bad groups, good nations and bad nations, good religions and bad religions. And of course, our group is the good group, whilst the other or opposite groups are the bad groups. The big mistake is to think that if the good group eliminates the bad group, then peace becomes possible. But this simply never works. In reality, the conqueror, who may at first look like a liberator, ends up being the new tyrant. Just look at so many political military leaders who were and posed as liberators at first and then became oppressors. Human history teaches us that the inevitable truth is that power corrupts, and it's all about power. How can we ever dream of being saved from this infernal and vicious cycle? The solution that Jesus offers is the incredible opposite. He refused to create a new group. Whatever we might think, he refused to turn his popularity into a source of power, either worldly or political. Yes, Jesus was powerful, but as he himself said, "My power is not of this world," because his power was not dominating numbers and groups. His power was the power of one. He always concentrated on an individual persons. He attracted crowds, yes. He preached, healed crowds. But it was always an individual that he healed. He calls everyone, but chooses individuals by name: Peter, John, Matthew. He wants to spread the good news to everyone, but doesn't send out armies. He sends out individuals. Love cannot be born out of groups. Love gives birth to groups because it transforms unique, irreplaceable individuals into lovers who open their hearts to others. Love is either unique and personal, or it does not exist at all. It is easy to love people in general, but so difficult to love the person next to you, living in your own family. It is so easy to pity the sick or the poor of the whole world, but the challenge is how to care for your sick son, your elderly parent, your annoying neighbor. It is easier to love humanity than to open your heart to that black neighbor of yours with his different beliefs and culture. Love, peace, unity are born from or destroyed by individuals, one at a time. Love is always a choice made by one person at a time, and it can only spread from one person to another person. This is God's way of working in us and through us, simply because He is love, and love is always personal. Groups are driven by the love of power. Those who love are driven by the power of love. That's God's way. In the second reading, St. Paul says, by the grace of one man, Jesus Christ, the grace and gift of God has abounded unto many. Jesus did not save humanity by creating another group that we call church, or another category of people we call Christians. He wanted all humanity to become a community of love in Him and through Him. And in the same way, the church, Christians, will never fulfill Jesus' saving mission by being another powerful group, a big, powerful institution we call the church. Jesus called His disciples individually, one by one. He called them by name. He did not send them to conquer the world, but just to be His witnesses in the world. Each Christian is called to be contagious to those around him or her, not to transmit the worst virus, evil, but to spread the contagious joy of love to all, one by one at a time. Our vocation is not to save the world by turning it into one big and powerful Christian system. Jesus sends us to become one in His own body by sowing love and compassion in the hearts of those we meet on the journey of life, just by witnessing and sharing it freely with them. Yes, the flock Jesus dreamt together in us is all humanity, not just the Christians. To fulfill His dream, He needs you, He needs me to spread love, each one in our own little way. By this they shall know that you are my disciples, if you love one another. There is no other way. God will not transform the world and humanity through His infinite might and power. He will not beat us into shape, threatening us with all sorts of punishments, or corrupting us by all sorts of gifts and winning us over by what He gives us. God will transform the world by giving Himself to the world through you and through me. Let us allow God's love to transform each one of us, one by one, into loving gifts to the person and persons next to us, one by one. This is how God transforms the world, drop by drop, person to person, one person at a time. Do you accept to be that little drop in the ocean? I take this occasion to wish a very happy Father's Day to all dads in the world. A special thank you to our own fathers, our own dads, whether still with us or already with the Lord. Each one of them has been one of a kind. They have helped us, their sons and daughters, to become also one of a kind. God bless you and thank you.